Are there limits to the ways we do evangelism? And if so, what are those limits? In today's reading from 1 Thessalonians, Paul offers some very important insights into this very question. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. Many of us longtime Presbyterians are pretty shy when it comes to evangelism. So shy, in fact, that most of us think of evangelism almost as a bad word, the dreaded E word. This past Lent, our church did our Lenten study on evangelism, and I was pleased that most people were willing to suspend judgment and take part in the study, even if they had reservations about it. From the feedback I've heard, some people liked the book and others didn't. No surprise there. The book hasn't been written yet that would receive universal acclaim in our congregation. At the same time, though, even folks who didn't like the book found the discussions themselves to be helpful. One of the things that I've learned from all of this is that most of the time when Presbyterians say they don't like evangelism, what they really mean is they don't like bad evangelism. When folks like us find out that evangelism isn't what we think it is, when we find out that most evangelism in our experience happens to be bad evangelism, then it's not so scary after all. It's really nothing more, after all, than listening for those times when talking about our faith makes sense. It's not about forcing it. It's not about lying in wait like an animal seeking quarry. It's just about normal conversations in which, as one person has put it, you share something you enjoy with someone you like. In his letter to the Thessalonians, Paul reminds the church how he shared the gospel with them, and it didn't involve trickery or slick presentations, but simple, straightforward conversations. Paul writes, "For our appeal does not spring from deceit or impure motives or trickery, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the message of the gospel, even so we speak, not to please mortals, but to please God, who tests our hearts. And you know, as God is our witness, we never came with words of flattery or with a pretext for greed, nor did we seek praise from mortals, whether from you or from others, though we might have made demands as apostles of Christ. But we were gentle among you, like a nurse tenderly caring for her own children. So deeply do we care for you that we are determined to share with you not only the gospel of God, but also our own selves, because you have become very dear to us." No deceit, no trickery, no flattery, no bait and switch tactics. None of the stuff we often associate with evangelism. Or perhaps I should say, none of the stuff we associate with bad evangelism. So this begs the question, what is bad evangelism? To me, bad evangelism is evangelism that treats people as targets, conquests to be won. It is often coercive, using the kinds of tactics we usually associate with the proverbial used car salesman. Not that all used car salespeople themselves fit the used car salesman stereotype, but you get the idea. High-pressure tactics. It tends to be focused on fulfilling quotas for an organization, and people become simply a means to that end. Good evangelism, by contrast, is focused not on the needs of an organization, but on people and their needs. When our focus is on the needs of people, everything is different. We're not focused on what we need, but on what they need. Listen again to the end of Paul's thought. So deeply do we care for you that we are determined to share with you not only the gospel of God, but also our own selves, because you have become very dear to us. Paul's desire to share the gospel message surely was based on how important the gospel message was to him, but it is also clear that the people with whom he shared it came first, for he shared not only the gospel, but also himself, person to person. No sales gimmick, no high-pressure tactics. In a word, no trickery needed. And that's really the difference between cheap, tawdry evangelism, the kind of evangelism that repulses us, and good evangelism, the kind of evangelism that comes naturally. When we return tomorrow, Paul reminds us that the gospel is not just about what to believe, but also about how to live. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.